Good Wednesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks and motorcycles, the SUVs, the camper, the Kiefer dog. Hey, it's quiet. Where the heck is Kiefer, right? There he is. Yeah. Oh, wow. What a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning here in the Northern Virginia, Maryland, D.C. area. I mean, it's chilly. I mean, it really is. Brr. The cool weather is here upon us, and good Wednesday morning to all those that watch my channel. Thanks so much for tuning in on a regular basis to listen to me gab away. I'm picking a word of the day and trying to create conversation of cars, trucks, motorcycles, the state of times, and that's what I do. When I get up in the morning, just kind of get the freshness on my mind, off my mind, as we walk over to the shop here. And wow, look at the Ram truck with the tailgater grill, which is so cool because I've had this thing for 10 years and I've totally forgot about it. I really did. I bought that thing 10 years ago when we were very active in our local church here for many, many years. And we would have an after service get together, usually with eating sweets and cookies, the donuts, the fruits, the vegetables. And then when the weather got a little better, we started making hammers and hot dogs, and I got this idea that I could go to this little grill, attach it to my truck, drive down the church, because it's just down the road here, only about a mile away, so I can leave it. This thing here, if you look, it truly is designed to go down the road. It actually has a little pivot here, where it then locks in, and since it's really being, the wind and everything's not getting to it, because the vehicle's protecting it, and you can travel with this within reason, and then pull up and put your tailgate down, get all your goodies out, and you can make somebody a nice chicken or hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever fits your flair. So the thing is just so neat. If you didn't see my video yesterday, I'll kind of get a little closer if anybody out there is interested in this type of setup. And it's interesting. I don't even know how I found this thing. I can't remember where I bought it, but if you look here, it's really neat. You know, the grill's a decent size, and when you travel, this actually folds in so that you don't have the wind resistance, and then it has a little locking mechanism here. And so, once again, you can take this here and pull the pin, if I can get it to move. And so then this just comes around like this here, and I got the grill kind of turned a little bit here, and you push it up in there, and it locks in. And now you got yourself a really cool tailgating grill. And it has a cover here for your control. And it has the screw-in compact propane thing. So this thing just is so cool. I think it's a really great idea. And for me, it's more about over at my house, I have a nice grill. I think Mr. Sanchez was like, why wouldn't you just use your big grill? Well, I do. But what's so cool about this is I've got my camper out here. I got my refrigerator out here. I borderline got my own house out here. And now I got my own nice little grill, which is so cool because last night the daughter and I hung out here and had a great hamburger and waffle fries, sitting out here enjoying the scenery. Just a beautiful evening as my wife was trekking to Tennessee. And thank goodness she got to Tennessee last night about 10 o'clock. So that was a good thing to hear. She had a great drive in the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. But if you're watching my channel as well, you know that the Lightning truck is bricked. That's what I call it. It's totally dead. I resorted to plugging in the extension cord. Now, we're at least 12 hours, if not 14 hours, since I did this, and nothing. So, one of the subscribers, which I don't disagree, I think he's right. I think that the truck's 12-volt battery may be dead, and that's why nothing's happening. What you can believe that, but this is very disappointing. I'm just noticing that this really expensive cover that I bought is coming apart. These are really high-line, nice covers, and look at this. Wow, what a bummer. I mean, that's a first for me of seeing a cover like that come apart. This truck hasn't been driven in months. So the odds are it's going to have to be towed to the dealership. And I don't disagree. I think the 12-volt battery, which here's the challenge. Well, you do have a release inside the truck to open the hood up. And then the 12-volt battery is hidden behind a compartment. So I should get my meter out, and I should put my, see if that thing has 12 volts. It may be just a simple thing of getting the battery recharged, and then that way it reignites the truck, and it's on its way. So this here is a waste of time now with all this extension cord, and nothing happened from it. Oh my goodness gracious. As we walk over to the shop, get the morning conversation going, and what are we going to talk about? Besides, there's so many things going on. We got a trike conversation, but if we take the word of the day, I thought today the word could be split, because on Monday we had the important conversations, and yesterday we had the backward conversations, and today I thought we've never have had the split conversations, which split means dividing us. You're not sure of which way to go. And I thought, you know, it's pretty incredible that the words I've picked this week coincide with the with what's going on with the Democratic National Convention that everybody's right now attending in the DNC world. Come on, puppies! I don't know where Will is. Willow! Come on, Will. Will, come on, get up here. So, I thought that was actually, I think the words, kind of in my world, I think the important conversation, which is going on right now at the DNC party, that word resonates right back to what's going on. I think the backwards conversation resonates exactly with what the DNC's got going on, because they're now just talking backwards about how everything's going to be beautiful to convince everybody that they haven't been in charge for the last 4 years. Somebody else has been, and you know, the new person in charge that's actually been in charge is going to make everything different. It's the most confusing, misguided, misinformed, misaligned thing going on in our country at this time. It's ridiculous. So, but I won't get too heavy into that yet, because it irks people when I kind of get on that conversation. One of my subscribers, I think his name's Jim Williams, and I'm not here by any means attacking anybody on my channel. That's not who I am. Let's attack the subject, not the individuals, because the goal is for us to both have the same view instead of a split view. And that's what happens in social media more than ever. That's what happens in relationships. It's everywhere. We split. Marriages split up. Relationships split up. It's nothing new. There's good old Don. Don's getting buried with all the bench gets all cleaned off, and then it gets all trashed up again. It's never ending in my bench. But good morning there, Don. And good morning to all those subscribers, Bob and Charles and Roger. And I mean, there's help desk, pizza party Mike. I mean, it's just everybody's, I don't want to miss anybody. Darren, I mean, you know, and I do. And if somebody feels offended by that, and I'm like, it isn't, I intentionally didn't call your name out just because I can't remember everything all the time. So on the split conversations, I think it's pretty cool that that word is a huge word in our life. Hey, look at this here. Is this so cool? If you're really watching my channel, you'll know that I went to Tim Brook Honda yesterday. I went to Tim Brook Honda yesterday for two reasons. To get my daughter a new helmet, because we can't find her old one, and because I know where it's all going. She's going to be wearing my brand new helmet. That's just how it plays out. So I bought a really nice new helmet, and I picked up the Yashimura exhaust for the Grom. And I'm sure a lot of people yesterday, when they saw me going to the Tim Brook Honda, thought that another Grom deal would be in the picture, and that would maybe be something you'd be watching. Even for me, what played out is beyond unbelievable. But all of a sudden I was there. This is so cool that there is a duplicate replica dirt bike that's my motorcycle. Everything's pretty close. They didn't put the little valve thing on there, but this is so cool that I literally have now not only the replica. As a kid, I would have been all over that little toy motorcycle, but never had the opportunity to actually buy one. But I actually have. I mean, unbelievable. I actually have the real deal. And to think that if I ever really just preserve this bike, and I preserve that die-cast scale retro-looking bike, wow. To think that you go 20, 30 years from now, 10 years from now, 20, 30 years from now, you know, does that have any real value to it? It's hard to say. That's a split decision. So, and there's good old Kiefer. Hey, Keith, let me get your ball over here. So he's wanting to play with his ball, and he goes through so many balls. So go chew your ball. Go chew your ball. Don't throw it in the garbage can. That's what he does all the time. Oh, so if you watch the channel, you know that you saw me go to Tim Brook Honda with not even a clue that there's a trike, a 3-wheel Honda, a California sidecar company, CSC, that's the abbreviation, California Sidecar, where they just got in a Honda Goldwing conversion into a trike. And once again, that's not even on their website. That wasn't even in my sights. If you really watch my channel, you know last year I was in a mission of buying an RG3 or a trike. And I even went to numerous dealerships, even tried to get deals done to no avail. And I just kept on trying and trying and trying. And I mean, if you really watch my channel, you know I was down in Richmond, Virginia at that Richmond Harley dealership. I was in the Fairfax Patriot Harley dealership. I was up in the Baltimore, the Chesapeake, Harley Davidson one way up there in Darlington, Maryland, near the Pennsylvania line. I was over here at Skyline Harley. I was up here at the old Frederick Harley test riding a used CVO trike. So I really did try to buy a Harley Davidson trike. I was on the page that maybe that would be something that my wife would get on the back of with me and ride, because at that time Shannon and Chris and I and Julia were riding together, and we felt bad because the wife wasn't really coming along, and my wife just isn't comfortable on the back of a motorcycle. She just is kind of intimidated by that. So I thought to myself, maybe a 3-wheel would be a nice change up, and maybe the wife would then kind of come around and get in the back of a 3-wheel motorcycle. So if you really watch my channel, you'll see there were months and months and videos after videos of me going and driving the trikes, the RG3. It sounds like the former football player here, or the G3 of Ted Britt Ford, of Gardner Britt's son, that runs Ted Britt Chevrolet, Ted Britt Ford and Chantilly. They do have a Chevy dealership, and they own Harley dealerships. That's Gardner Britt. So anyways, the point is, you saw me diligently trying to buy a trike. But I was really split. That's why I think this word is so appropriate this morning. I was very split on that decision because I felt like I just didn't feel good about that Harley product. The first thing that really was a turnoff to me on the trike, on that Harley, is when you get on that trike, you have to use the floorboard that's forward on that motorcycle. And the way that thing is kind of designed with those big wheels, you got the rear 2 wheels, it's not like on this bike here, I can throw my leg over this bike. You know, I can throw my leg over this bike and get on this motorcycle. I can throw my leg over this motorcycle and I can sit on it. On the trike, you can't do that because you have the rear wheels that interfere. It's too wide. So you're forced to put your foot, this is what you have to do. You have to come up to the trike, and you have to put your foot here like this, and then you like have to bend your knee over. It's a very challenging way of getting on and off that trike. I did not like that feel. And then I really liked the RG3 look, and I also liked the trike look, but I had reservations because it's the old technology. And I really liked the 117 motor, which you had the 114 motor on there. But the trike for the RG3 for the Harley Davidson, just so many people know, it's a Road Glide. It looks exactly like this up front with a fixed fairing, but then in the rear end, it's retrofitted into 2 rear wheels like a car, and then you have like a rear live axle, and you now have a 3-wheeled vehicle that's always upright. It's always standing upright, because as people get older in life, especially for a lot of Harley Davidson riders, their knees, they start to have knee and hip problems, and that makes it more challenging for them to hold up basically a 900-pound to 1,000-pound motorcycle. So as people get older, they're kind of forced, if they want to keep on riding a motorcycle and feel confident, that they go to a trike. Because God forbid if you're 70 plus years old, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty of 70-year-old, 80-year-old Harley guys still riding two wheels. But there's others that have had health issues and health challenges, and your confidence level starts to change, and people then resort to going to a three-wheel motorcycle. In so many ways, it's like the old man's motorcycle that you've now have accepted that you no longer really can ride a two-wheel bike. Well, that really isn't my story for me. But it's more about just the change up of a ride, something different, and maybe the wife would get on the back of the motorcycle. Or what really would be cool is my father rode with me on the back of my Street Glide and my Limiteds that I had up to he was about 85 years old. So you go, my father, literally rode in the back of my motorcycles. We worked off my motorcycle. I'm not lying to you. I used to drive around the DC Beltway with my father 2, 3 times, 4 times a week of just literally him being on the back of a Street Glide like this, my daughter's bike up here, with no rear tour pack. And he would just sit in the back and hang on to me, and we would ride around. I eventually got a little sissy bar to make sure he didn't fall off, and eventually I got a Limited, in which by the time I got that, things just kind of started to change. But the whole point is, for me, it isn't about me having well, I should back up a second. That whole statement was based on, for my father now, he can't get on a motorcycle. It just doesn't work for him at his age. And what's interesting is, I talked about this yesterday in my video, there's video of my father in the garage of my motorcycles being down there, where I by accident was watching a video of him being in the garage, unbeknownst to him, and I saw him in the garage trying to mount the motorcycle, trying to see if he could lift his leg up high enough, to take his leg high enough and get over to get on the motorcycle. And so, because I just know he wants to ride in the back of the motorcycle, but he's at the age now where that just isn't, he just can't do it. So, when I was buying the trike, thinking trike last year, the Harley Davidson, I was really on the page thinking my father could possibly ride on the back of that. But once again, if you watch my video, I did many, many rides on the different motorcycles. I spent a lot of time at Skyline Harley. Was that this past January or February? I just can't remember. Was it last fall? It's just so much information, so many things. But I actually spent a day at the Harley dealer in Winchester of riding the RG3 and the trike and going back and forth of what I think would work for me. But it was the same thing. When I mounted that RG3 or I mounted that trike, it's the weirdest way of getting off and on that motorcycle because of the rear tires that intrude in your space. And once again, I just felt like there's next year, I think 2025, I think you're going to have the new technology of the RG3 will be the 2024 all new infotainment center, all new design, 117 motor. So I really think that they're just going to use up all their parts. And so I've been like, if they did that, I would maybe be more inclined if it had a 117 motor on it. On the trike, it's the Batwing. And as I'm getting older in life, I'm coming to realize the fixed fairing is a lot more stable, a lot more fun. Years ago, I was all about the Batwing, but as I'm getting older in life, I've had so many Batwings, I'm sick of them. And you get pushed around with that Batwing to a degree. And some people argue with that, but whatever. But the point is, so the trike just doesn't have that flair to me that really is drawing me to it. And after driving them, it was such the feel of driving like an ATV. When you drive that trike, or you drive the RG3, or there's the other, I can't think of the name, the other one, that's like the sister to the RG3, but it doesn't have a front, doesn't have a fairing. And I just can't think of the name of that bike. So I'm not fixated on that bike. Freewheeler. So it's a freewheeler. So I didn't drive that because I want a fixed fairing. I want a fairing in front of me as I'm going down the highway and just not have an open road feeling. So what I'm trying to resonate back to you this morning is riding those trikes in RG3, I noticed an enormous amount of pressure on the handlebars as you drive that motorcycle. I mean, this motorcycle here, you can just let go of the handlebars and this bike just goes straight. It tracks itself. But with the three-wheeler, it dances in the back end because you have the two wheels that are finding all the imperfections of the road being uneven, being split. Yeah, lane splitters, you know that means as a motorcyclist. So that back end, it dances. So you can feel the back end. Well, meanwhile, that kind of puts you in a position on the handlebars where you're having to push pressure on the handlebars to keep the bike from really kind of losing control in some ways. And so what I kind of came to closure was it reminded me of riding an ATV four-wheeler. Because an AT four-wheeler is just that. When you ride around in that thing, you constantly have a lot of pressure on your hands and arms. I give people that are trike owners good credentials and credit because that's a workout. That really is. The three-wheeler motorcycle is a lot more challenging of you riding it because it's more attached to the road, meaning that back end is constantly throwing your butt and your rear end around. And it's a little intimidating at first when you're on open highways because it doesn't feel stable as a motorcycle. So with all that said, I really came to closure. I'm just not that excited about that product, and I'm just not ready to be there, and I don't have to be there because, thank goodness, I still have the health and well-being to ride a two-wheel motorcycle. So for me, for yesterday, to me walk into Timbuk Honda and see a three-wheel Honda, it was like, oh my gosh. But the thing is, I rode that exact same California sidecar setup probably 3 or 4 years ago, like in a January. And I rode it, and I walked away where I just wasn't excited about it because the back end walked. So I never had ridden a trike before in my life. So that was the first time I rode a trike. And when I rode that Honda, and the Honda is a longer suspension. If you look at the Honda, it's a much longer platform than that Harley. The Harley is a very stubby motorcycle. For the Honda product, you see how it's a stretched suspension, and the front forks have a little different angle of the rake to kind of offset that back end. Harley, I don't think does that. So Harley is really just riding off of this same dimensions as this motorcycle. So it's a much choppier bike, which you feel that going down the road. But you go back, when I first rode that California sidecar, I was kind of intimidated by it because the back end danced. But I just rode it down Route 7 on the highway, turned around and brought it back. And it was a cold day. And I was like, yeah, I don't think this is me. But now you fast forward of me now having a lot more exposure and time of me riding the Harley trikes and then riding yesterday the new Honda 2024, exact same bike as mine, with the exception that it's a manual. And I've now had a better chance to spend some time with it and go on the back roads besides just being on the main highway roads. And wow, I mean, that thing is so much fun. It's got a great sounding exhaust. I'm sure if you watch my video, you'll see that they redid the exhaust in the back of it. But it's not a cheap motorcycle. That's a very expensive motorcycle. It's a motorcycle that is basically $10,000 more than the Harley. Yes, that's the facts. That trike is a $48,000 motorcycle. Tilly trike, those RG3s, those are anywhere from like 38 to 40. Well, if you get that new Tobacco Fade Harley product, which I do love that color scheme on the trike, you're at I think $44,000. So in that scenario, on a Harley, you start getting close to this price. And for the record, Timbuk Honda is discounting that motorcycle a decent amount of money to try to get the deal done with me having to give something up. But the point is, this is a very expensive Honda conversion from California sidecar, which I don't know a lot about that company. I never have spent a lot of time. So for me, it's been a split decision for me now for a year, which is crazy, on how I've been fixated on a trike, but then I totally pulled back. only for yesterday, for me now to write up a deal to get that trike. Which I'm sure some people are like, why would you do that? I think that thing looks really cool. The back end, to me, looks really neat. It's just a whole different ride. it's for me, as I progress in life, I still have a chance to enjoy things, and it's expensive, and manage all this is very challenging. So now the challenge is, what do we give up? Well, the real deal, what makes sense is just to trade this brand new Goldwing for that trike Goldwing. But the sad part is, this is so new, and I buried my other Goldwing into this Goldwing, meaning I traded the manual transmission for the DCT, only now to be looking to buy a manual transmission trike, which, yeah, you just got to scratch your head. But there's going to be too much negative equity in the deal to give this back at this time. Now, down the road, as I pay it down, it could be used to buy something else. That's just kind of how I think. But the Honda Afro Twin over here, which I barely even ridden, that deal would work. Because that deal was a straight out purchase and no trade. So there isn't really any negative equity in this bike. So this has good value, and the numbers make a lot of sense to give up this Afro Twin. And if you think it through, so if I really, really am so bummed I let go of my Afro Twin, down the road, I can just take the Honda Goldwing as I pay down on the value of the bike, and at some point I can cross the bridge and get another Afro Twin if I really want to do that. That isn't really the focus by any means, but that's kind of where it is. But I have a Honda CB650R that's in the trailer, and do I let that go? But that's got a high balance on it too, but I don't know. I got to do more research on that. And so does it turn into a 2-for-1? For me, where I am with all these motorcycles, yes, it would be the smartest thing in the world if I could get rid of 2 or 3 bikes. It's just too many bikes. Then others are reaching out with split, and that's the thing about being a YouTuber, is you have the split personalities, the split views, which that's fine. I enjoy the conversation. I enjoy the criticism. I enjoy the praise. It goes both ways on my YouTube channel, and I don't take it to the heart. I understand it's a YouTube channel where people are just trying to interact and present their own views and their split ideas from mine. So a lot of people are like, you should give up the Harleys for that trike. Well, the problem is, these are all financed by American Honda Finance. These are all financed by Harley-Davidson Finance. So for Honda Financial, this will do nothing in the deal, because for them, they don't want the exposure of even more debt added to them with yet another American Honda Finance debt. They want to wipe a debt to add a debt. And so it's just that I wouldn't feel good about it anyways, and the numbers wouldn't work anyways, because Harley-Davidson motorcycles are sucking wind, and every one of these bikes is going to be buried underwater of the values, because they're all brand new motorcycles, and I didn't put $10,000 down. Now this bike here, I put a lot of money down. So yeah, I could get rid of this bike. I could sell this bike, but I don't want to, because this is one of the baddest ass Harley-Davidsons I've ever had to the state. And that's the big thing about Harley-Davidson. Now there's been a big split in what people look at Harley-Davidson, because they've been exposed by the Starbuck, and the help desk, I believe it was the help desk, reached out. And sorry if I got that wrong, but he was saying that guy Starbuck, that guy is going to be terminated if Trump doesn't get elected. He's like, for the pressure this guy has put on these major corporations. I don't know anything about this guy, Robbie Starbuck. I just found him through the X platform, and I just saw the information that populated, and through the Wall Street Journal that had a major article about him, making these major companies such as Harley-Davidson change their direction of all this DEI and all this woke agenda. But apparently, for some out there that know more about this and are better in depth of this, the kid's back from working out. That's a good thing. She loves to get up early in the morning and go work out, so it frees up her day to work, and then have her freedom to go see her horse in the afternoon when she gets back in from work, and she loves that. Or riding her dirt bike. And yes, the 450 ride will come shortly, Mr. Sanchez, but it's just always about other things going on and blah, blah, blah. So this guy Robbie Starbuck, apparently this guy has a lot of people protecting him, because there's so much hate. There's so much a split of differences of what he sees going on in the world, as most of us do, and versus others that think it's okay. And that's what's going on more than ever in our society, especially during this election year, is we're split. We're being split more than ever. And I talked about this numerous times, that once I heard Kamala Harris's name mentioned, the media blitz to promote her to be the most special, talented, best person ever in the world to run this country will be 24/7, nonstop. And if you're watching bits and pieces of the DNC, I doubt most people are watching it, but if you are kind of looking at this and that, and reading different portions of like Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, they were all at the DNC convention last night, running their mouths the whole night about how Kamala Harris is the best damn thing this country could ever have, and how Donald Trump's the biggest piece of crap and the worst dictator you could ever have in power to be. So it just gets very confrontational. And what they're already saying is, in the Republican National Convention, Joe Biden's name was mentioned like 4 times. Now, do you believe that? I don't know. I have no idea. They're saying that Donald Trump's name's been already mentioned 172 times. So all the split is, it's convincing people to split away. If you're a Donald Trump person on the fence, or if you're an independent, is they're trying to split the differences. And the goal is to split it where you win. That's just the way it works in the voting system. We think it does, but I think a lot of people today question that voting system because it's so split on what you think was supposed to be the vote count versus what they said the vote count was. Yeah, does anybody know that story that goes on forever and ever and still being talked about today? Which that just goes into a rabbit hole conversation, which I'm not going to do. But here's what's very intriguing. It's always about Elon Musk. And I was telling everybody on my channel over a year ago, once Elon Musk bought out Twitter, made it X, that he's eventually going to be attacked like you've never seen. He's going to eventually be treated like Donald Trump. It's going to be the constant media belittling him, making fun of him, telling people he's a whack job, he's a loser, he does terrible things, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, his SpaceX may save the astronauts that are stuck up there in the space station because NASA's can't get their act together to get them back home. Do you know that story? So Elon Musk, his technologies can outdo the NASA technology and hopefully bring back these astronauts that are now stuck up there till maybe February of next year. So now I thought it was very interesting on X, I took a picture of it, just so you know. And where'd it go? As usual, I take a picture of something. There it is. So on X, here's a guy named Ed and his brother. Dang it. Here's a guy named Ed and his brother live on X all day long. That's all they do. They're supposedly being paid by Soros or somebody huge is paying these two brothers to sit on X and post stuff all day long. So this guy and his brother are going off that Elon Musk put a post out for you to vote. Who would you vote for, Trump or Harris? So he put a poll out. This just happened yesterday. So this is what came off of X. 79% of the people believe Trump should be elected. 21% believe in Kamala Harris. Over 1 million people have already voted on Elon Musk's recent poll. So, but this guy here is saying that's a bunch of malarkey. He's saying that's not true. It's not right. And then he's saying that this whole X platform is all a right agenda participants. Where if you actually go on there, here's this lady, Mayo. If you actually went on to X's platform, you would see that the major participants in X are individuals that are very left-minded. So here's this lady post stuff all day long. One of the very first things that Kamala Harris should do when she's president is dismantle Fox News and reinstate the fairness doctrine. So it's very big. It's very, very big on X. The majority of posters are liberal-minded people. I mean, so Barack Obama's on here. You need to get onto X. If you're not on X, you need to get on X because you'll start to see how Elon Musk has worked so hard, in his view, to bring back the freedom of speech and the truth of the news. But many will argue about that. But if you're watching in general media, you'll see that Kamala Harris is pulling ahead of Donald Trump. But yet, here's 1 million votes just on X, and Donald Trump is crushing her. So, and that's the challenge that we lay in right now in our society, is just splitting us up more than ever as this media machine Here's Michelle Obama is running her mouth that Kamala Harris is the best thing that could ever come to this country and would be the most dignified person. It just goes on and on. So what people are seeing in the general media is they're seeing the favoritism of Kamala Harris more than ever than any political figure in modern times. And Joe Biden was in the same thing, but Kamala Harris is even getting more attention because she's of color and she's a woman. So the media machine's just going to ratchet it up to convince people that are split, and that's where we are. There's many, many people right now that are split on what political views they think are the correct things for this country. And as always, as I've talked so many times, and I'm sure most agree, the minority pretends and creates for so many to think that they're majority. The minority in this country gets the advantage of using the social media machine to persuade people to split their decisions on favoritism to the minority when the majority don't want it. And that's why this guy, Robbie Starbuck, is in so many words going to be targeted should Trump not get into office because, something. I don't know. I don't know anything about this guy, so I just can't go into great depth of who this guy is. I just, by accident, ran across an article on him. So for us, our challenge for us Ice Age people is, as the always conversation is, the EV age is we're split. There's so many on my channel. There's many on my channel that are EV, they like EVs. But there's a lot of people on my channel that despise EVs. And so there's a split of different views and ideologies and what you think that the EV age resonates on you being, in so many ways, controlled for the future of how you're going to live your life. And that's what the green agenda and the EV age, I think, resonates back to so many people that splits them away from the EV technology is they feel like it's being misguided and it's just being used as a tool for the future of controlling you more than ever, and the government bodies taking control of everything. And I think that's really the underlying message that resonates with most people that have the anti-EV age thoughts. But then there's also a lot out there, like me, where I'm intrigued with the technology. I like technology. I like change. I don't like being told what to do, what to buy. But at the same time, for me, I have a split personality because look, and the people it's like, well, this guy is all over these EV vehicles, but then he's all over these ICE vehicles. But then he's, as Mr. Sanchez says, this brand is the best damn thing you could ever buy. But then later on the road, no, this brand's the best damn thing you ever buy. So for me, yeah, if you look around my parking lot, you see the Ford, you see the Chevy back here, you see the big ass Chevy right here, you see the Jeep product, you see the John Deere product, you see the Honda product, you see the Harley product, then you see the KTM product, then you see the Triumph product, and then you go into the trailer and you see the Indian product. So for me, yeah, I've got a split, versus some people. I mean, I have friends that they're Chevy and that's all they are. They're not going to own a Ford. They're not going to own a Ford. They're not going to do it. They never will. They don't like Ford. And then I have Ford. This is so cool. This here, I wonder if that's Kelly. I thought that was a motorcycle. There's a motorcyclist up here that has a bike that sounds like a freaking race car. It is so badass. And it comes through here every now and then. I wonder if I swear that's Kelly from the car show that has a badass freaking Ducati bike all modded out. And her boyfriend lives right up the street from here. If you watch my car channel, car show, you saw him you saw the two couple that I was making fun of where they're boyfriend, girlfriend, but when the car breaks and they ever get into a major blowout and they hate each other's guts, she'll be calling him and saying, can you come work on my car? That was a thing I said on my third part of my series of the car show on Sunday, if you watch that. And he lives right up the street from here, and his parents, I think, are very well off, and he gets to race cars. He gets to race cars for a living. He also works as well, but he's at some very high-dollar cars. Apparently, he's bringing his McLaren to the car show next Sunday. If you're going to watch my car show channel on Sunday, apparently he's got a race McLaren that he's going to be racing, and he's bringing that to the car show to show off. and then he's moving from living up the road here to some really nice house up in Leesburg with property. It's like, Jesus, man, this kid can only be like 22, 24, he's probably like 24 years old, I'd be my guess. But anyway, so back to the split. So just for me, yeah, I've got this split personality from all these different vehicles, cars and trucks and motorcycles. But again, it goes back to where we are today in this November election year, where the challenge for us is how we keep the country more one-sided than split-sided. And I think many here, like me, are very concerned for the agendas that are being pushed down our throat and are being supported by the big guys behind the scenes. It's very important that we understand that we can't have our country become any more split than it already is. But I think that the election of Kamala Harris will definitely divide this country even more so. And I think it'll be just really even more aggravating for so many that feel, like I just said, that the minority tries to portray that they're the majority, but they're not. And for younger people, they just don't understand this. For younger people, they just don't want to believe that mankind, women, they lie. They lie. It's unfortunate for the younger generation, younger people. A lot of them just don't believe that devious things are done, and lying and pull the wool over your eyes, pull the rabbit out of the hat is the political system. It's bad, and it's on both sides. It isn't just, this is not about me trying to portray to anybody here that Donald Trump is the answer to the country. But I can tell you this much, Kamala Harris is not the answer to the country. So you can, and that's the challenge, that the main split is that they use Donald Trump all the time. That's their main rhetoric to the younger people and to the people that are split of who to vote for. They constantly, it's a no-brainer. Does anybody figure this stuff out? They wanted to make Donald Trump look like a convict, look like a rapist. They did everything they could to make it so when they talk about him, they can talk to him in a demeaning way. So they have the right to say that Donald Trump's a convicted felon. In their eyes, they can say that because he went through the court systems. They can say that in so many ways, he's a convicted rapist. So, see now, if you or I started saying that about Kamala Harris, then we would be attacked and possibly even have content removed, possibly even my channel banned if I started making those comments, because there's no record of Kamala Harris having that what the Democratic Party succeeded at doing to Donald Trump, and that was to be able to label him through the court systems and the trials and the cases that, yes, this guy really is a corrupt individual, versus we gain no traction when it goes the other way, and that's where we're split. And so, once again, the brainwashing, the split conversations of convincing so many on the majority side that start to believe the minority is starting to prevail, it's a huge challenge for us. And it's very important that all of us talk more than ever from this point on, that the media machine, more than ever, and it did it back in the last election, it's done in other elections. This is nothing new of propaganda. So anybody thinks here that I'm running my mouth about something that's all new, it's nothing new. It's been going on for hundreds of years, thousands of years of mankind that wants to accomplish things and manipulate people with what is real and what is fake. So that's it. It's a long video. I get it. So does it play out that I go take the Honda Africa Twin? Look at this here. This is a project. If I want to take the Honda Africa Twin, just getting my car moved, all the motorcycles moved, it's like being in the motorcycle business. I am in the motorcycle business. And getting this bike out and then riding it all the way to Timbrook Honda and then get the deal to go down and then ride it home. Or do I get two bikes for one, and I take the daughter and we both ride two bikes out, and she rides at the back with me back home. How about that idea, right? With just beautiful, beautiful weather. And the hotter weather is coming back up here. So we're blessed right now where we're having beautiful mornings, beautiful evenings. I had to run the heat in that camper last night. It was cold. I mean, yes, I had to run the heat on the camper, which is crazy. And so so anyways, that's it. I'm going to leave it at that. So stay tuned for the Trike Adventure Day, the CSC, the California Sidecar Adventure Timbrook Adventure Day. So stay tuned for that. So God bless. Have a great day, and stay tuned.